Welcome to HomeFront Sitrep. I hope you're in for a great show today because I'm just a veteran talking about what's on my mind and maybe yours.
You can find HomeFront Sitrep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. You can also check out HomeFront Sitrep's YouTube channel.
Buckle up, the show is starting.
Out on the edge of the battle and back, we've carried the weight and we've walked every track. From desert dust to the fire at home, we've learned how to fight, how to stand alone. But no one tells you what comes after the war, when silence is louder than the guns we bore. That's where we speak, that's where we heal. Stories too real for Hollywood reels. Welcome to the front lines you don't always see, when warriors to battle just differently. This is our check-in, our voice, our step. This is the HomeFront Sitrep podcast. For the fallen, the fighting, and those who came home. For the brothers and sisters who still feel alone. We're holding the line with truth and respect. This is the HomeFront Sitrep podcast. For the fallen, the fighting, and those who came home. For the brothers and sisters who still feel alone. We're holding the line with truth and respect. This is the HomeFront Sitrep podcast. It ain't all medals and waving flags. There's pain in the silence and weight in the facts. But we've got a mic and a mission to share, to tell the damn truth, cause somebody's gotta care. We laugh, we cry, we cuss, we pray. We honor the ones who ain't here today. From basic to battle and back to the block. This is our rhythm of round table talk. Welcome to the front lines you don't always see, when warriors to battle just differently. This is our check-in, our voice, our step. This is the HomeFront Sitrep podcast. Still heavy in dreams out of reach, for the lessons the textbooks could never teach. We're sounding off, no filter, no prep. This is the HomeFront Sitrep podcast. So if you've worn the boots or love someone who did, if you swallowed your hurt and kept it all hid, pull up a chair, you're not alone. Welcome to the front lines you don't always see, where courage meets scars and raw honesty. This is our anthem, our truth intercept. This is the HomeFront Sitrep podcast. For the ones still standing and those we've lost yet, for every single story we'll never forget. We speak so others won't forget. This is the HomeFront Sitrep podcast. Real talk, real facts, real life. HomeFront Sitrep podcast, where the mission continues.
Welcome everybody to a Monday edition of HomeFront Sitrep.
Monday, look at
I know. How is everybody doing? Gunny, how are you, sir?
Good, man. I had a great weekend, with the exception of Friday's weather, which canceled the jump for the Kentucky Veterans Hall of Fame. So feel bad about it, but Mother Nature wins more often than none. So guys flew down. Sky started opening up. I went inside, talked with the event coordinator. Sky was opening up. Looked like it was going to be a good jump. Come back outside, and it just socked right back in again. 800-foot ceiling, so that's a no-go for us. We need a minimum of 2,500, 3,000 if we want, because we have to have 500 feet above the tail of the aircraft, all that good stuff, right?
Right.
But then, I did get in a decent day of fishing. Slow going, man. The crappie weren't biting anything. We ended up with 7 Friday night. I was like,
Holy
oof.
cow.
Yeah, if we go back out tomorrow and it's like this, I'm done fishing. But we went back out. We ended up with 21. It took me an hour before I caught my first crappie. Bass after bass after bass, and then went down to J Matt and picked up a bunch of bottles that the team had ordered and delivered those. We got Warrior Weekend coming up Wednesday. But while I was there, a special bottle went on sale.
For one, ooh, what the? Hey, let me go full screen on you. Oh, look at that!
Yeah, buddy. So it is for the Marine Corps League, Victor H. Carr Detachment 1447. I think that's the one in Georgetown. But yeah, they're doing a 250th birthday edition. So I don't know the flavors. I don't know the price. I don't remember the price. I was just so excited to see it. And I'll tell you what. So yeah, Friday we were fishing and we were catching decent fish. And I picked one up and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna throw this one back. And we get back to the house and I'm going in the live well scooping out. I'm like, who put this back here? So my counterpart there from Mogadishu Mall, Kentucky, is blaming me for throwing the small fish in the live well. Yeah.
Oh man.
Come on now. See how he is? We haven't even got into the show yet, and he's already giving me grief.
Right. When can I get a bottle? Frank just asked.
Call down there tomorrow, Frank, and see if they have them. But the team bottle, if you call down before noon on Thursday, just tell him Mark will pick up your bottle and he'll bring it to you for Warrior Weekend.
Yeah, so we did have.
Well, then yesterday I flew to Wisconsin. We jumped for the IMSA race at Road America and flew back. So flew up, spent an hour and a half, 2 hours there, jumped, flew home.
What time did you get home?
Well, it would have been halfway through the show if we would have had a show.
Yeah. Luckily, we didn't have a show. So last night we were doing senior jeans for my youngest daughter. She'll be, she's graduating this year, and then we were getting ready for Grace to go to college August 13th. So just right around the corner, we'll be moving her into her dorm up at EKU up in Richmond. So it was a good day, a good weekend to spend with the family all weekend. It was just a great weekend. Last week, after last week's heat, I mean, God, it was so brutal. Literally walking outside at 6 a.m. in the morning and start sweating, just walking the 20 feet from my garage door to my truck, and just started sweating, and then get to work, and then Mother Nature lights up, and it's just like, holy cow. And it was just, so we were trying to get all of our toughest jobs done early in the morning before it got really, really hot. But overall, it was a great week. The weekend just topped it off, made it better. I got to spend with the wife and kids, other than when they had to work. My youngest had to work a couple times during the weekend, but then we got to hang out with some friends on Friday night. We went up and seen at the Mount Washington Amphitheater. We went up and seen the Rockin' Cowboys, which are two young kids. I think they're 10 and 12. They're from Taylorsville, and they killed it. And then the Crashers came on. They were the headliner, the Crashers. So it was a free concert. And I'm telling you, this amphitheater, if you ever been out to Mount Washington, to the amphitheater out there, all the seats were taken. And then you just imagine people were sitting wherever they could sit. It was overflowing. But no, it was a great night. It wasn't too hot. We had the kids there and our adopted kids. I say our adopted kids, but they're my kids' friends, and they were hanging out with us too. And then all of our other adult friends were there too. So it was a great weekend. And so get to do it again next weekend because we don't have one on Sunday, but then we follow up on Monday, and then we move her in on the 13th. So no, I'm excited, man. I'm glad you got some fishing time in, because I know that's your reset.
Much needed too. Much needed. After being in the hospital and just go with the team and the honeydew list and everything else, I definitely needed some time on the water. And whether we were catching fish, keeper crappie or not, that line's in the water. Great conversations had, and fighting them friggin' bass, man. I got so sick of it. There was one spot I'm like, all right, come into the Bass Hotel, the Bass Condo. Someone's gonna get bit within the next few seconds. Every time, boom, boom. I'm like, let's get out of this spot.
So you don't keep bass at all?
Yeah, so it's they got a 57-acre lake, private lake, and it used to be known for just big trophy bass. And there's still some monster cats in there. We've gotten some pretty good cats on 6-pound test, ultralight, crappie rod, and let them pull us around the water for 45 minutes. But because of the crappie and the bluegill, they're just taking over the lake. So you have to clean that out for the bass population to grow again, right?
I
Or for
got you.
any population to get any size to it, you have to thin whatever herd it is, right? So yeah, it's we don't keep them. It's catch and release on the bass, catch and release on um the cats as well. But any of those panfish, get as many
Bluegill.
out as you can so you can
Hell
let
yeah.
those other populations grow.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. No, yeah, I'm glad you got, like I said, I'm glad you got to reset. And then you got your new soundboard that you've been playing around with.
What you talking about, Willis?
Oh man, that's awesome. I love it. I wish I got to figure out how to do that on mine too. I know it does it. I got the G10, and you got that one there that I sent you, and
Yeah.
I'm glad it works.
Well, I mean, just trying to figure out the volumes and everything. And, when you play one of those special sounds, you have to turn down the monitor, adjustment. If not, it's going to blow your eardrums out.
Oh
And then,
yeah,
keeping the mic volume at a certain, yeah, it's just, all the things, trying to figure it out, right? You know,
yeah. You just got to
kid at
figure it
Christmas
out.
with that new toy. And, I sat here for 2 hours and I'm like, I'm putting this thing back in the friggin' box. I'm going back to my old mic. And then, I don't know, 10 minutes before I signed on, I was like, I'm going to give it a try. We'll see. And, they
Yeah,
give you in the manual if you're doing live stream podcasting, this is where your settings should be. And I've adjusted because I am pretty loud anyway. And if I want to, hit one of those buttons, I have to, be on that button as well. So,
yeah. You got to do it quick.
get the
Yeah.
volume down.
But anyway, let's talk about our guest today. I'm super excited. So I did the meet and greet. I don't think you were at the meet and greet with Vic um, a while back, and man, I tell you what. So he don't hate me because he is an officer. He is a pilot.
I
So
mean,
don't hate us.
we need
He
them. I mean, we need the officers, right? So our warrant officers don't fly. So, for the Marine Corps, we need our officers to help get us from point A to point B, flying wise. The
right.
land nav stuff, we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, definitely not Lynn Nav. Lieutenant Hancock is all I'm going to say.
Bobby H.
Oh, butter bars. But anyway, so yeah, so we got Vic Shah. He's getting ready to come on the show. He is a fighter pilot. He flew the F-15E, which I'm super, want to learn more about because I don't know a whole lot about the difference in the jets and stuff like that are out there. So I'm super excited. And then I want to learn about what he's doing and helping veterans get into the franchise space. So I'm super excited to learn about that and learn more about Vic as well. His family came over when he was young from Kenya. I think it was Kenya, if I remember correctly. And they migrated early on. And I'd like to learn, just figure out what he's doing for veterans
Yeah.
and what's his drive, what's his motivation, and what keeps him going to be the best that he can be. So, without further ado, let's bring Mr. Vic up to the show. Welcome, sir. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
We are doing wonderful. Now that you're here, we are doing much better.
Love
Yeah,
it. Love it.
I don't have to listen to Willis run his suck for an hour, so I'm good.
Now you got to listen to me.
Well, do us a favor. Introduce yourself to the world of HomeFront Sitrep, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Vic Shaw, real name Vivek, but go by Vic, call sign Slumdog. Flew F-15Es in the back seat for about 12 years. Transitioned to the reserves here 2 years ago. And now just doing that, part time. And now I own multiple businesses, franchising, technology, going into convenience stores maybe here soon. I don't know. And honestly, uh, really just looking for ways to help, uh, not just vets, but help all around, children's hospitals, and all around. So, uh, and the reason I say help is, one of the reasons is to teach my children that giving is the most important thing that you can do in life. And two, it does bring me joy when someone else can hop on the train, right? You got your own train going on, and you help someone on that train. It means the world to a lot of people. So, that's a little bit about me. I'm sure we'll go into a little bit more, but yeah, that's me.
Yeah, so I've been teaching my kids for almost they're 18 and 17, but as long as, as when they got old enough to be able to go to different veteran events with me to help give back to veterans and go feed the homeless down, downtown. I think it's just something amazing. Now, some soup kitchens they wouldn't allow us to take them because they were so young still. But being see it for them to see that, it was amazing, and I think they got that understanding. Hey, we might have it better than this person, so I'm going to treat this person a little bit better because if I got something, I'm going to share it with them because my kids. I mean, you heard me talk about our adopted kids. Well, those kids are friends of my daughters that don't have a really good childhood home or home. They got parents, but they struggle. So those kids get to come over here and hang out with us. So they become our adopted kids, and and we, if they do good, like in school, one of the kids, his parents don't show up for him at all. So guess who shows up? My wife and I and our kids show up for him because that's what it's all about, is showing up for people, letting them know that you care. And I think we as Americans, I think we kind of get so involved in ourselves that we forget about other people out there. So it's amazing that you're teaching because your kids are young, if I remember correctly, right?
It's just 5, 3, and 1, but you start them early.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
definitely.
sure.
Well, I know Gunny does the same thing with his kids. His kids go with him to events and stuff like that too as well. So
Yeah,
no, that's
especially,
awesome.
especially when I was a lot more heavily involved in the nonprofit space. Man, Micah, when I was the VP for Walleye, he went up there one weekend and just drove the golf cart everywhere. And anybody that needed a ride, whether it was to the cabin, up to eat, taking the trash, whatever needed to be done, he was up there doing it. And Frank slipped him some money, and I'm like, Michael, what's that? You're not charging people. He goes, no, no, no. Mr. Frank gave it to me, and he told me not to tell you. I'm like, well, don't leave it out in the open then. I said, but you need to tell Mr. Frank that you're not doing this for money. but yeah, no, I mean, and they all did it at a young age. I mean, I started in the nonprofit realm as soon as I retired. So they've been doing it since 2011, 2012. And Miles, not so much, but Micah for sure has been doing it. And now, he's working in, the community as a cadet and doing, some policing stuff.
That's great. That's great.
So your family migrated here from Kenya when you were as a young age. What was that transition like when here you grew up in Kenya and then your family migrated over? What was that transition like, and the culture change for you? How was that?
Yeah, good question. So, my parents both Indian. Great 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 grandparents moved from India to Africa on both sides. Grew up in Kenya, both of them, and they decided to make the change, and the reason was there's opportunity, um, in the United States, right? And so I think my dad put his finger on the map, closed his eyes, and picked a spot, and picked Columbia, South Carolina.
Oh,
Yeah, the armpit. So we went ahead and moved to Columbia, South Carolina, and I remember my dad telling me, why we're moving, age of 7. It was for opportunity. You're going to grow up to become something, a doctor, a lawyer, something that to make a name for yourself. And I remember that distinctly, but obviously I didn't pay attention to the doctor and lawyer part. Uh, the transition was hard. You become this Simon Says type of guy. You don't know what to do really because you're in this new environment, and so you just do what others are doing. Um, Thankfully, my neighbor was this shit hot athlete. My other neighbor was a really good dude with really great parents. My parents, on the other hand, I didn't see him much because they were on the grind. My dad started at working at a McDonald's drive-through window, um, and then transitioned to buying his own liquor stores, convenience stores, and grew his name through doing that. But I never I never really saw him because he was just grinding. And I'm not saying I hate that. I thank him for grinding so hard to let us be, have the opportunity, and my mom the same. But my friends, you find the right group, right? You get stuck in the right group, and I call that fate. I was lucky to find that type of crew right next door. um, no drugs. It was all always about, biking or sports, or, let's play some video games together, all that kind of, childhood dream stuff. And I kind of just got locked in with them. And so, you know, I was just copying what I was seeing,
Right.
how their parents treated them. uh, you know, v- Two military parents right next door treated their children very, with a strict disciplinary lifestyle, and I was like, oh, this is how I got to act. And so I'm hoping my parents saw that too, because I'd come back over to my house, and I was like, Dad, aren't you gonna make me eat and make me, sit up at the table? Like, you're like, what? What are you talking about? You're like, well, I learned that next door. Like, and so I learned that kind of stuff
Yeah.
from good people growing up. Actually, one of those guys actually became a pro athlete. Andre Roberts played returner for the Panthers, the Lions, the Redskins, et cetera, et cetera. But he became, he went to the Citadel with me as well. We grew up from age 7 to now he's in Arizona, has his own kid, and kind of retired there. But um, good, just growing up with good people. So the transition, I would say, to answer your question, was, I think, beneficial and easier than most people that grow up, moving at that age.
Heck yeah.
Was there at the time a huge Indian population in Colombia, or were you like one of the few families that were of descent?
Yeah, surprisingly, there was a huge Indian population, and my parents won't move to Charlotte, where I am now, because they're dug into their friends that they met 20, 30 years
Yeah.
ago, 35 years ago, and they're just best friends. I'd say over 50 to 100, close friends, but the population was large then. And I know for a fact that they helped each other, because they all moved to Colombia around the same time, a couple of years plus or minus, but
Yeah.
they were always helping each other, bring food over, this, that, So it's
Yeah.
it's very it's very important to find that community.
Yeah, for sure. And the reason I asked is when my wife's grandparents and dad and her oldest uncle came over from Germany, they settled here in Cincinnati, which has a huge, German or Serbian population. So I know, especially back in the 50s and before, they tried to get where they had a similar upbringing or were from the similar region. That way they
Right.
had things in common with people, and if they needed help or assistance, they could go to people that grew up like them.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't know what you don't know, right? So you have those people to kind of fall back on. Just like in the military, you don't know in TAPS or when you're leaving, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah,
Disability and all the stuff that nobody tells you about. It's good to grow that network and get that community.
yeah, for
So
sure.
you are absolutely correct. I mean, even still now, you have to find that community now, especially being a veteran. Once you get out, you lose that sense of purpose, that sense of camaraderie. You have to find that early on, or you go down, those spirals that veterans go down quite frequently.
Oh,
Um, so it's always good to have community, a tribe. We say tribe all the time on the show here. So here you are, you came over from your family migrated here, you went through high school. Now you're getting ready to graduate high school. What made you join the military compared to doing other things?
Yeah. So, I was a troubled kid too. I was naughty. You know, when I said growing up with good people, then you get into high school and you meet other friends and you go to these parties and you come home late and you get in trouble all the time with your parents and all that. Well, I'll also say that I was a dumb kid too. Did not have the grades in high school, low GPA, all that kind of stuff. Well, at that point, it was either, a community college or I asked my dad, like, hey, dad, I know you're going to help me with college. You send me where you want me to go. And then he picked obviously the military school in South Carolina, the Citadel. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, so you do think I'm not disciplined at all. So, at that point I was just like, all right, sir, I'll do what you need me to do. And I knew that if I screw up here, then, I'm going to be left hanging. And so I went all in. I went all into the disciplinary schedule, the military lifestyle. I didn't obviously like it the first year with all the hazing and um, you know, the stuff that goes on in military school in the first year. But after,
All that plebe stuff.
yeah, they called us knobs
Yeah.
because they just shave our head. It's like you're a doorknob now. But they called us knobs, and yeah, after the second year, I fell in love with it, man. Waking up at 5 a.m., shining the shoes, doing what I'm supposed to do, going to class because you miss class, you're done. All that kind of stuff played a huge, huge role into what I am today. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful that my dad, said you're gonna go here.
So how did you pick the Air Force compared to the Army, compared to the Marine Corps, compared to the Navy or
You,
Coast Guard?
you guys are gonna love this. Oh man. So no military background, right? Parents, nothing. Have zero connection to military. Uh, and yeah, the rumor, what chair force is what they called it.
Yeah.
And the rumor behind that is like, oh, it's a little easier than all the rest of them. And so like I didn't know what I was doing. So let's just go the easiest route here. I was under the impression I go Marines or Army. I'm going to boot camp right away, and then I'm getting shipped off right away, right? And that was reality. And my mom was like, "What? What? No, 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 no." And so I had no ambition to fly at all. Um, and I just went Air Force just because I thought, hey, maybe I could do my 4 years and be done with it. But that wasn't the case. You take the written test, you take the full physical test. Eyes are right, ears are right, body's right. Hey man, you got a chance to fly. Do you want to fly? Uh, and I was like, yeah, why not? I'm too young to sit behind a desk somewhere. I had a lot of energy, full up soccer player. Like, I wanted to do something that I wanted to be the tip of the spear. I was motivated, and so I took it. I took it, and I was like, let me just go try it. So get sent off to flight school, and they said that if you're top 10 or top 5% of your uh, flight school class, you have a chance to fly fighters.
Hmm.
Um, and when that seed was planted into my head, it was game on. It was
Yeah,
game
because
on. I
that's
didn't,
all based on availability of what they have for empty seats or seats that are going to be empty. So I
yeah,
mean that percentage changes all the time. It's the same thing with the Marine Corps, right? When you're going through officers candidates course and the basic course, if you're a certain percentage, more than likely you're going to get what you want. May
yeah,
not be
yeah.
where you want, but you'll get what you want.
You'll get what you want. So you're guaranteed at least one fighter jet a class. But I think we had four fighters drop on my drop night. Um, and I unfortunately graduated number two, so I was sweating. I was sweating. But I got what I wanted. I got the F-15 Strike Eagle, backseater. and it was just game on from there.
All right, so let's talk about that because that's something that kind of. So you say backseater. So what's the difference? I mean, do you not fly from the front? I mean, what's the difference?
Yeah. So Gunny, whenever do you ever talk to guys in the air?
Oh, absolutely, all the time. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So the guys you're talking in the air are usually those backseaters. And so you call them mission commanders. I call the front seaters. I love them, but I call the front seaters bus drivers. No, but so you're trained in the aviation sense. Something happens to the front seater, you have the same controls in the back seat, and you're able to kind of take control and do the general things, right? But the backseater's real mission is a mission commander. You're talking to the guys on the ground, you're targeting, you're dropping the things that need to be dropped in the right places that need to be dropped. And so you're kind of you're commanding the whole mission from the air, while trying to help the most important thing, which is those guys on the ground.
Hmm, okay,
Yep.
so so it's kind of like I guess it's the F-14, like in the movie Top Gun, the F-14. You got Maverick, and then you got Goose. Goose is your mission commander, pretty much. Okay,
Yeah, you could say that. You can say Goose. Yeah, absolutely. Talking to the guys on the ground and making sure they're safe. Yep, absolutely.
nice, nice.
Yeah,
So here you are. You get done with your active duty service. You go into reserve status. Now I know you still got that sense of camaraderie, that sense of purpose because you're in the reserves. Uh, was it a lot different from being on active duty to the reserve unit that you went to?
yeah. I mean, you guys know what activity is like. It wears and tears on you, right? Always gone. Um, Barely see your wife and kids. And I got in the fork in the road there. My wife is a nephrologist. She's a kidney doctor, and
Mm,
so we had to make the decision. Obviously the breadwinner, had to make the decision on who's gonna take, you know, rip their certification off, and I had to rip my wings off and kind of go that route. But life did slow down, and in that transition I realized, like, you know, what I am here for. I'm here on this world to make my kids better people.
mm, I
And
love that.
that's what I am putting 100% of my heart into. And so, yeah, I'm still in the reserves, and I ground teach the young guys who try to kill themselves, um, and try to teach them about things that can kill them, weapons and tactics, basically, and kind of keep them safe. But my full time job is being a dad and this whole entrepreneurial side of things now.
Yeah, I mean, I have a
But
lot of people ask me, what's my legacy? What's that like when I'm gone? How are people gonna remember me? My kids, my 19-year-old and my 14-year-old are my legacy because the way that they treat people, the way they interact with people is a direct reflection of me
Yep.
and how they
yes,
were raised and their mom and how they were raised, right? All this stuff that's on the wall in the office or in storage or whatever, those are things that I did, throughout my career and throughout this time on earth. But my legacy are those two boys in the other room.
exactly. Well put. Yep. And I will run with that all day, all day.
Yeah, I third that because my kids are like Gunny says. My kids, they yes ma'am, no sir. They are, like to us, to mom and dad, they're buttholes. Like literally, I want to kick them. I want to kick them out. But when they go to school or when they go to work and then we get to see their boss or their teacher, and they're like, "Oh, we love your kid. She's amazing." And like, okay, well, we're doing something right, and that's like Gunny said, that's my legacy right there. I mean, my oldest getting ready to go to EKU. She's going to get a degree in criminal justice with computer science and digital forensics. Then she wants to go into the Air Force. And then she wants to go to the FBI. I mean, that's her, not me. I'm not pushing her to that. She decided to do that on her own, and that right there tells me, hey, Dad, you did something right. And
Yeah.
granted, she does ask me. She did ask me. should I go in the Air Force? Should I go in the Army? And I'm like, what do you want to do in life? And she goes, well, I want to be FBI agent. I was like, okay, well, you need to get a degree. You don't have to get a criminal justice degree, but a degree, and then go into the Air Force. And then hopefully by the time you get done with CID, then you can go into the FBI. So,
Yeah.
that's awesome. And then my youngest, she wants to be a high school history teacher, and it's like, man.
Well,
So
it's the concept of serving.
yeah,
Serving in some form or fashion, be a school teacher or a FBI agent, you are, you know, somehow helping the next one,
yeah,
or someone beside you, right? That's the point that I'm trying to push across to the kids, and I see that you guys are doing the same thing, and I love it. That's why I'm here.
yeah. It's that servant leadership, that servant heart. Which I didn't know I had a servant's heart until I joined the Marine Corps. And then when I got out, my wife will tell you I'm like Captain Save-A-Ho because I want to save everybody. Sometimes you gotta cut the fat. Sometimes when some people can't be saved. Like I tried and tried and tried, and I'm like I keep doing it, but my wife is like, "Hey, they're not getting any better, or they're not." So sometimes you just got to move on. But
People have to want to change.
there you go. There
Yes,
you go.
yes,
You can
love
you can
that.
give them all the tools in the toolbox. If they don't want to change or they don't apply in what you're, assisting them with, it's not going to happen.
It's on them, right?
Go spend your
Yeah.
energy somewhere else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So let's talk about what you're doing now because you've got your hands in a little bit of everything with Franzy, and there was something else that I saw earlier. So let's talk about what you're doing now, how you're helping veterans get into franchising, or not just veterans, but that's something that you're passionate about.
yeah. Sure. So I'll make it into a storyline. So, after transitioning out of active duty, going to reserves, I honestly didn't know. Like, all I knew is to fly, right? That's all I know. And that's all I still sometimes think about. Like, oh my God, what am I doing? I just want to go back to the jet. I just want to be in my cockpit. That's my safe place, with my hands on the on the buttons, right? Um, but I had to figure it out. And so, thankfully, with what the military gives us, the GI Bill, the yellow ribbon, everything that's kind of handed to us, I was able to get into Duke University's Fuqua School of Business. Um, I just knew that I had to specialize in something, and I knew, business was in my blood. Growing up with the liquor stores and the convenience stores, and how my dad raised me on every dollar counts. It doesn't grow on trees. I had to figure it out. So I went to business school, and 180 students, right? You see those guys who are like those investment bankers who love sitting behind computers, consultants who love sitting behind computers, and I felt like I was getting back into what I first started out with was like, oh man, am I about to sit behind a computer for the rest of my life? Because I don't like that feeling. And so, in business school, I met a lot of entrepreneurs, and a lot of people who do a lot of different things, um, own their own businesses, franchises, restaurants, this, that. And I was like, well, I would love to do something on my own, and kind of figure it out. But from business school, I can't just hop into it, right? I got to know how to run a business. So I felt like startups were the best place to learn. They're all over the place. They're trying to figure it out from the get go, right?
Yeah.
They don't know. They're not an established company, so I decided to apply for these small, low paying startup roles. Vendor relations or relationship guy, and I decided to kind of jump in and learn how these companies are run. Um, and from there, I joined two startups, stayed there for about a year and a half, altogether. And then from there, I was like, I think I'm ready to start my own thing. And so, uh, started researching, businesses, be it buying an existing business, buying a franchising business, etc. kind of fell into a franchise. Just thought, I need something brand new that I can validate my business, uh, knowledge, and kind of see if I can do it myself. And so I talked to a couple franchise brokers. Was a huge mistake. They took me down 8 months of a rabbit hole,
Mm.
and eventually fell into the arms of Sharky's Cuts for Kids. It's kids haircut, Lightning McQueen, car seats, police cars, fire engines. You got the Xboxes. You got like manicure stations for the girls and the princess get-ups and all that kind of stuff. Well, the reason I found it was I took my kids there on a Saturday, uh, and it was packed. I could barely get an appointment. And these uh, these haircuts are like 30 to $35.
Oh
And
man.
I was like, oh my God, I paid $70 just now for two kids. Um, and so then a month or two later, I take them on a Thursday, same thing, packed. 2 months later, I take them on a Tuesday, same thing, packed. And I was like, well, there's only one of these in Charlotte, and Charlotte's big. And so I'm going to go ahead and spread the love here. So I ended up, reaching deep down in the back pocket and finding a partner or two and opening three more
Mm.
here in Charlotte. So the original one was in South Charlotte. I went ahead and get west, north, and east, and I'm covering the rest of Charlotte now. Um, and so I had a grand opening about a month ago, building another one, and have another one as well. So off to the races from there. But in between that time, that 8 month drag of trying to figure out what I want to do, someone came to me through my network, through the Duke network, or whatever, and said, I need a co-founder for an app that I've built. And I was like, oh, what you got? And it was for trauma and PTSD.
Mm.
And my eyes lit up because I've lost guys to it. I know you can call it 100 people dealing with a lot of trauma and PTSD. And so I immediately, even without even asking for pay or whatever, I was like, I'll join whatever you need. I'll help you build this thing. And so uh, I became a COO and a co-founder of Trauma Brace, a PTSD and trauma app. Still am. And I am building this thing to what it should be, where what it should be is helping other vets, other people, in college. You would be surprised how many girls come into college already sexually assaulted.
Yep.
And what happens in colleges just make me cringe. I want to punch a freaking window every time I hear a story uh, of that kind of crap. And so my job and my servitude is to now get this app into as many hands as I can who need it. I don't care if it's free or not. Like, I don't care for the pay. You could say like, hey man, I'll pay you down the road, or hey, I just need this. It's yours. And that was my kind of job to get this out to as many people. So I got it. We got it tested at Duke University, and now I try to give it to as many colleges as I can, whoever will listen to me. And I've been talking to the VA. I've been talking to different agencies, DHA, and all kinds of government contracts out there that are looking for opportunities and kind of bidding on those contracts to get this in there, and see what I can do with it. And that's where it lies right now. But while I was working that, I'm also still building the franchise business on the side.
That's awesome. So we had Objective Zero. I don't know if you've heard of it or not. It's an app as well that focuses on veterans with PTSD and hyper, everything. So it's 24/7, 365. So you can reach out and talk to somebody, and you could filter it down. Like if you're a female that had MST, you can filter it
Mhm.
down to just females. If you want to talk strictly to Marines, you can reach out and filter it down to just Marines. I think that's something that might be something you might want to look into, maybe to kind of see how what they're doing and what you're doing. Maybe you guys can work together. We had Justin on; he's one of the co-founders of Objective Zero. that might be something that you might want to look at and see.
Yeah, well, that'd be great. On my end, what we why this thing was created was my founder, my original founder. She was in Nairobi working for Google, and her embassy or her hotel got terrorized, just bombed.
Mm.
People coming running through. She had PTSD. FBI saved her that night, brought her out, said, here's a card for trauma and PTSD therapy, right? Well, that cost her $5,000 out of pocket. And then also she had to wait 4 months to see someone. 4 months. She, in month 2, almost took her own life. Sorry.
What was that?
I don't know what just happened, but in month 2, she almost took her own life. And she's so smart, Google, and I think she worked for Bain or something like that. And she just dove in after she got help. She dove in to make this app, what it is today. So she basically took what you would get in a therapy's office, the gold standard of trauma and PTSD in therapy, and put it into an app. Said, no more waiting, no more paying $5,000. This app is $20 and you can have it for the rest of your life.
Mm.
And you get exactly what the therapist is going to put you through. Cognitive behavioral therapy and therapy and all kinds of the same exact stuff that the therapist is going to do. It's just a game that we're all in, that we have to pay to get help. We shouldn't have to pay to get help like that. What us three have been through,
Right.
and people like us should never ever have to wait 5 months or pay $5,000. And
Yeah.
it just makes me angry. And so I was all in on this, and I still am. I'm all about it. And so I would love to meet your friend Willis and see, how we can collaborate and get more people helped.
Yeah, definitely. So what I'll do is I'll connect you and him via email, and
Yeah.
then you guys can run with it from there.
100%.
Because Justin, the Objective Zero app is amazing. I've got it on my phone. I've downloaded it. I think Gunny, did you download it on your phone? No.
I go fishing, man. I go fishing. That's my therapy. After years of going to the VA and, not knocking it, the Fort Thomas VA, the metal side is one of the best in the nation. It just wasn't for me. So I go fishing. That's my release. That's everything. And if I need to talk, that my cohort there, prior Army, federal law enforcement, if I need to talk and get stuff off my chest, I can do it to him. And he's, been there, done that, and got a couple t-shirts.
Yeah. And from there, the whole franchising thing, that first startup I worked for, the founder of that, his name is Alex Smearsniak. It was a laundry startup. You build laundromats through franchising, and then in that same city, you do the pick up and wash your clothes and drop it off at that house. So that was his startup. He brought me on, took me under his wing. I love him for it. Kind of showing me the way of business, and kind of, he knew that vets needed help as well. And so I was like, thank you so much. And so I learned a lot. Well, he decided to leave his startup that he made, and it's still going on, but he decided to leave and do this new thing called Franzy. And Franzy is basically, you guys know Zillow, right?
Yeah.
Houses. Well, Franzy is like the Zillow of franchising. And so you can look up a franchise that you're interested in, say, Massage Envy, or like McDonald's, or any Chick-fil-A, something like that. And you go through it, you see all the details on it and say, oh, this is a pretty cool franchise. There's opportunities in this city. And what happens is people who are interested, I help them, they get on a call with me. I help them through the whole process, because a normal franchise broker, what they do is they have like about 5 or 6 brands under their platform.
Right.
Well, they'll introduce you to the highest fee and get a commission check 6 months later and say goodbye after they introduce you to their brand. Me, on the other hand, I do it differently. After every call they have with the brand, I sit down and debrief with them because I feel like debriefing is the best way to learn.
Yeah.
I know how to look out for those red flags because I've been through the worst rabbit holes with this franchise crap. I know how to look around the corner where they're not looking. And so what my mission is now is to help, people, not just vets, but everyone kind of get their path set. But my concentration is in vets because there's a lot of discounts out there for vets, right? Those guys that have no idea what to do when they leave, right? Franchising is for vets 100%. The reason is it's a proven model. They've already written a playbook. All three of us, our lives are on checklists, right? We
Yeah.
live off checklists. And so there's these brands have, established themselves, proven the model, have made checklists and playbooks. And so a vet takes that playbook and they're so successful. And so I've been helping them kind of get past the transition and help them into franchising.
I love it. I love it. So let's say somebody wanted to get in touch with you to, schedule a call with you or to, to start a franchise. What's the best way for them to get in touch with you for
The
that?
best way, yeah, the best way is Vivek.Shah@Franzy.com. But and I'll point out all the POC information at the end here, but go to Franzy.com and just go ahead and answer the 10 questions there, and I will see them. When they mark vet, game on. That it comes straight to me. There's only two of us kind of doing this thing, so um, I will be there to kind of just pick up their hand and go.
Nice. So go
Yeah,
to
and
Franzy
Franz
is Franzy or SY
ZY. Yep.
dot
.com.
com. So Franzy.com. So if you're watching this now, listening to it later, that's FRANZY.com. And make sure you click your vet and it'll go to Mr. Shah here and he'll run with it, man. So is there anything that we haven't touched on that you do want to touch on before we close out the show here shortly?
No, I mean, I spit the Franzy game, I spit the trauma brace game, but the bigger issue of the world, right, is giving back. Um, and that's all I want to do. And so I don't care if you want a franchise or not. I don't care if you want to, get into business or not. If you want some kind of help of transitioning and figuring out what you want to do, I've been through business school. I've my goal is to fail so I can succeed, right? And I've seen the dark holes, and so I'd like for anyone on listening on this podcast, reach out to me, and I will help you however I can. It doesn't have to be business. It doesn't have to be anything like that. It can just be family, right? Anything you need, I'm here for you. My goal in life is to help. And like I said, I want to teach my children how to do it. And just like you guys, what you guys are doing is so commendable in helping these vets kind of get through what they're going through. And I want to be like you guys. So appreciate it.
I love it. No, we want to be like you. I mean, you you've done a little bit of everything. I mean, so HomeFront Sitrep is an LLC. I'm still learning as I go. It's something new.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out the whole sponsorship thing. I'm trying to figure out, all that out. I'm not very business minded. Like I'm a nuts and bolts kind of guy. I'm turning
Mhm.
wrenches. On the business side of things, it's like, but I'm figuring it out slowly as I'm going. So I might be picking your brain on some business
Please
things.
do. I would love to help this organization. I would love to help Homefront in any way I can, even if it's raising money or whatever. I would even put, little donation boxes in my 3 stores for vets for you guys and raise money on forever and send it your way to keep this show going.
Man, I love it. I love it, brother. Well, I want to thank you for coming
I
on
love
here.
it, man. I love it.
I knew you were going to do that. But Oh man, but I do want to thank you for coming on here and hanging out with us for this hour. I know you're a busy man. You got 3 youngins at home, and man, this was amazing. Great information. So, guys, ladies, gents, go out to franzy.com. That's FRANZY.com. Click on there if you want to start a franchise, whether it's your favorite restaurant, whether it's a laundromat, whatever you want to do out there. Click on franzy.com and check it out and get in touch with Mr. Shah here, and he'll take care of you, man. Thank you again, Vic, for coming on here and hanging out with us.
Sam, Willis, thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you. If I ever get down to Charlotte, Captain Steve is on me.
100%. I got you, man.
Nice. Well, we're gonna drop you in the green room. If you got to go, that's fine. If you want to hang out, and we'll talk to you at the end of the show, just depending on what you need to do.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
All right. See you guys.
See you.
See ya.
Man, that was a lot of great information.
That's phenomenal.
Phenomenal. I love it.
You done messed up getting me this with some custom friggin' buttons on it.
I didn't know. I didn't know it had custom buttons. So, because like mine, this one doesn't have custom buttons. Because I was trying to figure it out how to do custom buttons, and it might still. I don't know, but my new one does, and now I'm going to do some for you.
Yeah, no, I mean, great show with Vic, dude. So much information there, and his transition from coming from Africa to here. Well, his family from India to Africa to here, to his parents starting a life in. I mean, it is a hole in South Carolina down there. I mean, even still a little bit, but to his family, his dad, doing businesses, and Vic was probably a little bit of child labor laws against him a little bit, maybe when he was a kid, dad having him stocking the shelves and everything. I mean, so that's what happens when your family owns business, right? You end up having to work for free, and you might sneak a donut every now and then, but no. And then him, his dad being like, oh, you're gonna go to the Citadel, that's where you're going. So you have to grow up real quick, right? When you realize that, hey, I'm going to a prestigious military school. And it doesn't matter. I mean, you got West Point, you got the Naval Academy, you got VMI, Citadel's right there with those schools, right? And the only thing is there's no full commit to the Army or the Navy. You get to kind of choose where you want to go, which is really cool, actually. And then to his transition now, and he basically had the same ultimatum I did. Hey, you either get out or I'm getting out. And, if you do this, you're doing it alone type deal. And it's like, all right, I'll follow you. Followed me for 14 plus years. I'll follow you now. And that's why I'm back in Northern Kentucky. Right. But yeah, I mean, it's just so cool that he, all this stuff that he's doing, and, with the franchise stuff and helping veterans and helping other people, right? Just people in general, help them find their way or get their way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's super cool. I mean, a lot of people don't think about, like I said it earlier, a lot of people don't think, a lot of us Americans, we think about ourselves. We don't think about other people out there. That's one of our things. Hashtag be somebody's stranger. That's one of the things that we talk about all the time on here, is being somebody's stranger, man. It's just, I wish more people were like Vic. You know what I'm saying? There's not a lot of people out there. I think he's a small percentage. I'd love to see like a breakdown on that percentage of how many people out there really care about other people. There's not many of us out there.
So people care about people in their circle.
Right.
Outside of that circle is where that percentage goes down drastically, right?
Yeah.
So we all care about somebody, whether it's our friends, some of our coworkers, our family. But outside of that, do we really care?
I mean,
we are. I mean, it's everywhere. We're all self-serving, right? We have to get ours before we can get other people's. And I can't provide for my family if I'm not looking out for me. Right. So if
Yeah,
I'm always looking out for somebody else, an opportunity may slip by that I could have had.
yeah. I
So I
mean,
mean, you still have to, look out for you, look out for your family, look out for your loved ones, before you start helping others.
yeah. I mean, I agree with you. You do have to take care of your immediate circle. Like my wife, my kids are my circle. I got to make sure that they're taken care of
Yeah.
before I can take care of other people. But luckily, I have an amazing wife that uh, controls everything, and it's seamless. So, you know, I go out, I work every day from 7 a.m. to whenever, and then I come home, do things that I need to do around the house. But she makes the world revolve. She does. She's amazing, and the same with you. That gives me that opportunity that, hey, I know things at home are taken care of. I can go out and I can focus on my brother Doc, who
Right.
his wife called and said, "Hey, I need you to come sit with Doc. He's having a bad day." All right, Roger that. I'm on my way. And luckily my wife is like, "Hey, if you need to do that, go. I'll handle the home front here." And that's what's amazing about having a very supportive partner that
Yeah.
gives me that opportunity to do that. And I'm thankful for that every day. So, but great
Excellent.
information. So,
Yeah.
uh, ladies, gents, if you're watching this now, listening to it later, whether you're listening to it on Reese Across America Radio, big shout out to Reese Across America Radio out there. We are on Reese Across America on Thursday nights, 11 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you need that's the word you need to put on there. So
Eastern. Yeah, I know.
yeah, you need to put that on there. But yeah, guys, ladies, gents, thank you guys for doing what you do and watching us and listening to us every time we come on here and bump our gums. And sometimes we have great guests like Mr. Shah here, Vic.
Don't say sometimes. We
No,
always have.
we always. She said, "I can't hear you." I think she meant can
Oh,
hear you.
can. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and
but
I
no,
noticed she been watching for a little bit, so you have to watch what you say.
I always watch what I say.
My wife doesn't watch, so I say whatever.
But no, man, it's a great episode. So go to franzy.com. That's FRANZY.com and get connected with Vic. And then I'm going to get him connected with Justin from Objective Zero. So Sam just put it up on the screen. All right, Gunny, this is you. There we go.
Yeah, you're not alone. You still have worth. You still have value. Surround yourself with people that are going to build you up and not tear you down. And you do
Yeah,
not have to be a product of the environment you grew up in.
definitely don't let the dark days win. This right here. In the silence of your struggles, remember, though unseen, you are deeply held in the hearts of others. You are not alone. And that goes back to being somebody, being there for somebody, and taking care of yourself, and then taking care of others. And here we go. Hashtag be someone stranger. We talk about it all the time. We as humans, we're more apt to talk to a complete stranger than the ones we love the most. So be somebody stranger. When you're out and about and you see somebody looks like they might be having a bad day, go up to them, ask them how they're doing. If they say, "Oh, I'm okay. I'm hanging in there. I'm living a dream," giving you the red flags, ask the next hard question. How are you really doing? But be ready for that conversation because it could be a 5-minute conversation, could be an 8-hour conversation. You have to be ready for that conversation. If you initiate it, be ready for it.
Yeah, man, it takes a village. We talked about it last week a little bit. We all walk around with a village at the palm of our hand. And, Dan and Babs, introduced me to that cell phone roulette. And, you riding down the road and you're like, man, I've not talked to so and so in so long. Hit the number. You haven't, you're in a funk. You want to talk to somebody, pick up your cell phone, go to your contacts, scroll it, and then hit. See if they pick up. They don't pick up, do it again. Hit it. Use your people.
Yeah, I love it. I called my stepbrother. I ain't talked to him in 8 months, and I called him and said, "Hey, what are you doing, man?" And come to find out, he's having another baby. He didn't call and tell nobody, but I reached out to him, and and I say, "Hey, what are you doing now?" He goes, "Well, I'm living at home or back." So he did travel, like he traveled all the time. Um, my wife. But no, he travels all the time, and he finally gave up traveling. He's staying at home now, getting ready to be a dad again for the third third time, fourth time, whatever it is now. But I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't reached out to him because he didn't call me.
Yeah.
And I know I'm bad about that. My wife can tell you I'm very bad about reaching out and saying, "Hey, how you doing?" Even though if
Even though you preach it every Saturday, every Monday, and every last Wednesday of the month.
but it's not all right. So my mom, I don't reach out to my mom as much as I should. When it comes to veterans, I reach out to them more than I do my mom because I know my mom. She's a mean old.
Yeah, but you know what? Every single person that you
Yes,
encounter on a everyday basis
yeah,
is dealing with something, is
yeah,
struggling with something that you don't know about.
yeah, yeah,
Your voice, unfortunately, your voice just might be the voice that cheers them up that day.
yeah. So reach out to people. I think we're gonna have to make that. Big shout out to our partners: Heroes Media Group, Reese Across America Radio, Military United Podcast Streams, Elite Engraving, Valor Coins and Pins, Same Flag Same Oath.com. Go check out Same Flag Same Oath.com. Small veteran-owned T-shirt company in Katy, Texas. They're amazing. We have a co-branded shirt with them said "Marine It Down" on it, which is a word play on keep it simple, stupid.
Written in
So
crayon. Why
written
wouldn't it
in
be?
yeah, written in crown, red crown because it's my favorite. So go check out the shirt there. Also go check out HomeFrontSitrep.com. You can see all the veteran nonprofits that we've interviewed, veteran business owners, authors, comedians, singers. So go check out HomeFrontSitrep.com. Also go to Elite and once you're there, you can go to the merch side. You can see our shirts there. It's linked directly to sameflagsameoath.com. Our hat, which I don't have down here right now. Do you have our hat in there? No.
No, it's in my
Uh,
other room.
yeah.
That's what I wore today.
So mine's upstairs as well. But you can see our hat there from Elite Engraving, which is a small veteran-owned company in Campbellsville. No,
Campbellsburg.
Campbellsburg, Kentucky. Two veterans own it. Husband and wife. They're amazing as well. What we're gonna do? So our shirt, we get 25% of all sales at the end of the year. What we're going to do is we're going to take all the nonprofits that we've come up on that we've had on the show, spin the wheel with all their names on it. Whoever it lands on is getting that check for whatever it is, whether it's $50, whether it's $2,000. That organization is going to get it. Same thing with the hats. At the end of the year, we get 20%. We're going to take all the nonprofits minus the one that won the other one and spin the wheel. Whoever it lands on gets that check as well. So go check out the website, order the shirt, order the hat, support small veteran business owners. Definitely do that. Who made a comment?
Mr.
William
Stevens says greetings.
Broken Mirror, 1820. Was it 1821? So what's up, Mr. William Stevens? But it is that time of night, Gunny. Like we always say on Homefront Sitrep, stay safe out there. We got your six.
We got your six.
Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this show.
Suggestions and comments are always welcome.
Cannot wait to have another great show with y'all.
Don't forget you can find Homefront Sitrep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Stay safe out there. I got your six.